Hello, in this video I would like to show you how to set up Azure Active Directory authentication in Master Data Management System. So in new Business Central release, the basic authentication will be obsolete and it will be replaced by Azure Active Directory authentication. So how to set up in Master Data Management System. So we have to go to the receivers and create new receiver card. Like a receiver, Azure Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. Then in the web services fast app, we have to switch to the authentication method Azure Active Directory, which will hidden the basic authentication fast app and enable the Azure Active Directory fast app. Then we have to paste the web service address like always. So here nothing changed. So we have to go to the web services, of course, in the receiver company, but I will just take the web service from here. So we have to copy paste SOP URL and paste on the web service address. I will just change the company name because this is the same database. So company is called receiver. And then we have to specify parameters, new parameters in Azure Active Directory Authentication Fast App. To do that, we need to create a registration app. That app will authenticate our web service. In Master Data Management System, we are using the client credential OAuth flow, which is the other name is the service to service, which is self-explained, I think. So we communicate Business Central to web service and Business Central client to the web service, and this flow not required any user interaction, which means we have to set up it at the beginning and it will work in the background. So the next step is that we have to go to the Azure portal, go to the Azure Active Directory and create new, and we have to go to app registration and create new registration app. So new registration, the app name, so MDMS test, for instance. Then the account type, so for instance, the single tenant or multi-tenant, we can stay on single tenant, but doesn't matter from MDMS point of view. Then we have the redirect query, which is here optional. However, we have to specify it because in that flow, so service to service, we need to put here the address. I have here copied in the notepad the address. This is the HTTPS Business Central Dynamics.com. So we come back to the redirect is go to the Business Central. However, there's an additional line here, additional text. I will describe afterwards why we need that. However, it's very important to put exactly that URL here. So I'm going to register. So each registration app is identified by the client ID. So we have to copy this client ID and paste on the receiver card. So I'm switching back to the receiver and paste client ID here. Then again in the Azure Active Directory, we have to go to the certificates and secrets, and there is a place to generate new secrets. So I'm going to create new one. We can define the expiry date of this experiment period of this secret. If it will expire, you have to generate a new one and paste on the receiver card. However, we can live with the 6 months. So we see that expires and the value, also the secret ID. What is important for us is the value, and that value can be copied by clicking here. Please also remember that when you relog in and log in again here, that value will be hidden from protection reason because it's a secret key. So please copy it now and go back to the receiver card and paste in the client secret. And we have scopes. So here I would suggest you to use always the same scope. It will work in 100% here for all cases when you are using MDMS. The structure of this scope is, I will just paste it here from the notepad. The structure of this code is that this is HTTPS API Business Central Dynamics.com. And then at the end we have that default. The last place is the tenant ID, which can be just copied from our URL. So here. And before we can try to test connection, we have to finalize our Azure Active Directory configuration. So I have to switch back here, go to the API permissions. Here is one by default. By default, there's also for Microsoft Graph, but we don't care about this permission. We need to add the new permission, choose the API by Business Central here. And we have two types of permissions. One are the delegated permissions, which are used where we are using when there is user interaction. Because we are using service to service, then we should assign the application permission. We need API read write all and automation read write all. So we can add this permission, and from here we can grant admin consent for those groups. Perfect. So now the setup on the Azure Active Directory has been finished. We need to one thing more. It will be useful when I will now copy the client ID again, and I will now switch back to the Business Central. I can close the receiver card. So how it works? From the receiver card, we are trying to authenticate the MDMS web service in the receiver company, which is used to replicate data. So that web service is uploading data. So first, when we are trying to receive access token from our app registration, and based on that token, we have roles then. So this web service read write all and automation read write all. So that app registration return us the token, and we can use this token as like previously we used the username and user password. Now we are using this token. However, we need to set up one more thing. This is a standard Business Central, not something related to MDMS. There is a structure called Azure Active Directory application. We have to create here new one. And as the client ID, I am paste the client ID from the app registration. Test MDMS. And we need to use grant consent action, which will connect now to the. We have to log into our account, and as you see here, we have the full access to web service and full access to automation. We have to accept. So our consent was given successfully. That's why this is important in redirect query to specify this specific query, because that Azure Active Directory application card is using this. Okay, the next step is to choose the permission or user groups. So we can choose the Business Central Premium, and as the company, I'll put the empty here. Okay. Let's try again. Full access. Okay, we have some changes. Let me try maybe close this card and try again. Okay. Okay, maybe I would delete those one. Maybe they're. Okay, let me maybe refresh here. It seems something is not okay. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so I will try again here. So edit and permission, full access. Okay, now it works. And we'll have the full access. Actually, I can for receiver. So what means those permissions here? When our registration app is trying to give the token to the MDMS, we need somewhere have information whether to what actually MDMS has permission. That's why we have to specify it here. So that's why we have client ID. So that client which give us the access token, and here we define what permission actually MDMS will have. We can also add here the MDMS permission set. Good. And actually everything is now finalized with the setup. So let's try to authenticate this web service. So I'm going to open receiver card and like previously test connection, and it's successful. So so the setup on the receiver card is different. You have to set up the receiver card. You have to set up the registration app in the Azure Active Directory and Azure Active Directory application card on the Business Central. However, from the process point of view, everything works the same. So you are running full synchronize, delete records, test connection. Everything works in the same way.